Home Show Garden Pros, helping to turn your thumb green.
Hello, I'm Dany Milliken of HomeShow Garden Pros. It is a wonderful organization that our big job is giving out great gardening information and advice. So we do a few different offerings for that. The first and easiest one is the radio show every single Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Sports Radio 610, which is an AM channel. So lots of AMs there, but every single Saturday we are dishing out great gardening information with knowledgeable experts. I am kind of the co-host, and we have a rotating team of experts that come in. And we know they're experts because they answer gardening questions every single day, and they do it professionally. So it's wonderful. Just we've gathered these pros from different garden centers all over the city. Really cool folks, really smart people, and they just know their stuff and love helping you, the gardener, get good answers and improve your gardening game. So just to kind of go around the map talking about these great gardening centers, you got Plants for All Seasons up on 249, just past Louetta. Sherry is the one who normally comes in. In Katy, there's Anita Nelson and Nelson Nursery and Garden Center, worldwide known garden center for aquatic plants and kind of, water gardening. But if you're in Katy, it is a one-stop gardening spot for all your gardening needs. So that's Nelson Nursery and Water Gardens. Down southwest, bookending Richmond, Texas, we have the Linderman family, Enchanted Forest and Enchanted Gardens, and Dany Linderman will be our co-host this upcoming Saturday. So a lot of fun. He'll be there 2 full hours, just does a great job. Then you get kind of north, you have Nature's Way Resources Garden Center up there, up 49. So just south of Conroe, just north of the Woodlands. Does a great job with the soils, as we all know, but a beautiful garden center up there. Tons of native plants and fruit plants. Really cool stuff. And of course, in Kingwood, 2 incredible places, Warren Southern Gardens and Kingwood Garden Center. So they're just doing a great job there. And here, we have our live show every single Wednesday. We're kind of doing our talk show, gardening talk show version, bringing you the hard-hitting news of what to plant in the ground and when to plant it. And here we kind of lift up gardening-related, food production-related, horticulture-related nonprofits. So a great time is had by all, whoever comes. This week, the wonderful Tyler Horne is here from Urban Harvest. Hey, Tyler, how's it going, man?
Dany, how's it going? Glad to be here.
Yes, glad to be here. And Tyler does the farmers markets. He's a director of farmers markets. And this guy is in touch with the heartbeat of farming in our region of the world. So how's farming looking out there, Tyler?
It's looking good. It's hot, but it's looking good. We're going into our summer season right now, but that also means there's some of my favorite things at the market. We've got peaches and watermelons and tomatoes kind of towards the end, and that's always a good time of year in my book.
Definitely. That is those are some yummy items. And I'm sure you start seeing a lot of the cool eggplants and all this okra is rolling through. Okra is literally like one of my favorite vegetables, and I can't grow enough of it because my gardens just aren't big enough because I eat it as a snack just out in the garden, just nom-noms. But a cool thing, you were telling me just before we got on here, you guys are moving into a new phase at the farmers markets.
Yeah, we've spent the past year following all the CDC guidelines, and we've been wearing masks outside, and no longer required to do that, and so masks are optional, and we've started back with our regular programming that really made the market so special to begin with, like live music, and we're having nonprofits coming back out and doing outreach and chef demos and sampling and dog rescues, all the things that people love at farmers markets is back. So we were very excited about that, and our customers have given their gratitude and thanks to having it return back to some sort of a normal for them.
Absolutely. I always tell people that the Urban Harvest Farmers Market is the best brunch spot in town because there's such a diversity of wonderful foods, hot foods that are ready to go. And then, of course, you can, shop and get your veggies and your honey and your all your cool stuff. So love what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about Urban Harvest and what the goal is and all the incredible, innovative, thoughtful stuff y'all are doing in and around our area.
Sure. I'll start with our programs. I mean, we run the largest farmers market in the area that's a producers only market. We have about 100 vendors each weekend, every Saturday. We're open 8 to noon, and all of our growers and all of our vendors come within 180 miles of Houston. Everything from beautiful Gulf fish to the freshest seasonal vegetables and fruits down to local bakers and prepared foods vendors. And like you said, we got about 15 hot foods vendors there to serve different brunch items. And that's what we do every Saturday. That's a big part of my job. We've got a mobile market that now goes into our 4 priority communities. It's amazing work with our local farmers, and we go into neighborhoods where they have little to no food access, and so we're going to serve them and bring them a mobile market. We just had a really successful one today that we did. We're doing that 4 days a week or so it's a big undertaking. We also teach classes and a variety of subjects on everything from gardening to how to compost at your house. And we've got school gardens throughout the city and a network of about 140 community gardens that are located in the greater Houston area that are affiliated with us, that we help provide volunteers and supplies and transplants to. That's pretty much the mission in a nutshell.
I love that. That's wonderful. You guys have changed Houston for the better. Organization's not brand new, and you guys have kind of really getting people to wake up that they can use their land for something incredible. So we all appreciate you. Thanks for what you're doing. So here on the show, we answer a series of garden questions. Sometimes we have some come in the comment section. Perry, I'm looking at you. And we do that on a regular basis. We love answering your gardening questions. I'm all about putting knowledgeable, talented people in front of you and getting some good information in your brain so you can make some good decisions at your house. So Tyler, you ready to start with the garden questions? Here we go. You ready?
Let's do this.
All right. Woo! Okay, here's question number 1. The questions are over to my left. If you're ever wondering why I'm like looking off to the left real intensely, it's because that's where the questions are. So, if I wore glasses, it would be maybe better. But here we go. This one's from Clarissa. She says, help! I want to add a mixture of tall/short flowers or pretty vegetables to a pot I have and place it by the porch. What would survive in full sun facing east and minimal watering? Any advice would be appreciated.
Well, I'd like to tackle the first part of that.
Okay, nice. Yes.
We have a bunch of porch vegetables at our house, and we have a bunch of herbs as well. In fact, I'm just planting the herb garden, and I think it's really practical for people to be able to go and have their own dill and their own rosemary and their own basil. But all will be swell to plant right now. I would suggest an herb garden personally. We love it, and it's pretty easy, even in full sun, to take care of those things. And as far as short flowers, I have a bunch of zinnias growing, and we just got some transplants of something else, and I'm blanking on what they are, but got a bunch of just color to add that really looked great. And was told by my expert gardener, I think they're vincas, no, they're pentas. That's what they are.
Pentas, yes.
That they're really. Is that right, Dany? They're very tolerant of the heat in full sun.
They love the full sun, and they do a great job with pollinators. Sometimes you get some butterflies in. Also, the eggplant, beautiful vegetable. Not only do you get the interesting kind of dangling fruit, but the flowers on there are gorgeous. That's a really pretty plant if you're looking for cool flowers. And then, anytime we're talking potted plants, you got to consider the thriller, the spiller, and the filler. And so, Tyler, you mentioned mint as a spiller, and I think that's a great idea because, you like to do something specific with mint. I love cooking with it and just chewing on it. But if you had eggplant and then some mint under there, I think that'd be a pretty good little summer-proof combo. So what is it that you like to do with mint so much?
I just put it on peaches last night for dinner. Just mint and peaches, just fresh, and peaches are like at peak right now in our region, so that is definitely a good farmer's market find. But I also like to make a mint julep from time to time on a hot day. So
that's great.
Having your fresh mint, and there's no shortage of different varieties that seem to work. But we grow everything from spearmint to chocolate mint in our house. I think we got about 4 varieties in the pot, and even if it looks like it's dead, it seems like it just comes back with a vengeance once things cool off, and it's come back every year really since we've had them in these big pots. So
that is awesome.
I think is
we make
a rock star.
No, that's wonderful. And mint juleps have a pretty cool history, pretty cool kind of past, or a very special and unique past, I guess is maybe what I should say. can be up to the listener to what's cool or not. But you have a simple recipe because it doesn't require a ton of things, but it's kind of the one that the drinks you make on the regular. I like mint mojitos a lot. That's kind of my lean. I love the ice in there, but a special thing about mint juleps is the ice. Got to have that crushed ice, right?
Gotta have it. Yeah. And if you're in a pinch, you can go by Sonic and get their little nugget ice by the bag.
Nice.
Makes for a good derby party if you can't get the real finer crushed ice. But yeah, we're big fans of that drink.
And then we make a salad at our house that's watermelon, mint, and feta cheese. And you kind of get it all into very small beats, and it's really, really wonderful and very refreshing. Surprising how those flavors, like you're talking about the peach and the mint, but how the flavors just kind of really combine really well together. So
that is honestly, that is really my favorite combo though with it is the watermelon feta and mint. It's best. So
yeah, so cool. So cool. All right, well, great answer there. We're going to, our final answer will be rosemary is great, both as upright or fall down. We love mint. And maybe if you're really looking for a pretty vegetable, eggplant. And on the flower front, the pintas would be a real winner there. So, all right, question number 2. Here we go. All right, this one's short for Mary. Mary's like the rest of us dealing with lots of mosquitoes. And she says, best plants for mosquito repellent help. Pretty is a bonus. Okay, gotcha. So she wants mosquito repellent help, but she wants it to be pretty. So, all right, go for it, bud. Oh, here I am sliding over here. Trying to read this question we got, but I got to get closer to the screen. Tyler, go ahead with the mosquito idea.
You know, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not great at the natural mosquito repellent, but I will make a shameless plug for this thing called Thermacell. I don't even know what it is, but it's got a battery and you stick it on your patio and it works like amazing. And everyone we've turned on to, they've been big fans. I'll let you defer for the actual mosquito repellent plant-based answer.
Well, that's funny you say that because the kind of one of the gardening myths is that, you know, you can have a plant of, let's call it geraniums or lemongrass, and it'll repel mosquitoes from your place, but it has to be disturbed. So you have to be able to smell it and you have to have a lot of it. So it's like if your patio is going to be a lemongrass field, that's great. That'll work. So the only one that really works for any range is a big shrub called wax myrtle. And so your best bet is to get some wax myrtles, but also get some rosemary, some lemongrass kind of in pots around your patio. But then also maybe something like what Tyler is talking about will give you actually complete control. And so one trick is if you have rosemary, you can break a little branch off, or lavender, put it in your pocket. You'll be generally protected, but the mosquitoes are just, there's so many right now. And so it's really hard to simply overcome. I mean, I was hiking in Memorial Park with my daughters and we were just like swarmed, and I drenched myself with cedar oil and I wasn't getting bit, but you know, they still go for your face, your neck, your eyes, your ears, whatever you didn't get. So I like the idea. I think a combo is the way to go. Wax myrtles, nice, smelly, pretty herbs, and then, you know, a solution like Tyler's talking about. So
one thing that works well, Blackwood Land Institute, is they have mason jars filled with water, and they have them just screwed with the tops, the lids. They screwed them to the joists in their patio, and I've been out there in the summer, and it did not bother us one bit getting bit by mosquitoes. They say that acts as a natural repellent, and it deters the mosquitoes. Something about the refraction of the light through the water spooks.
Oh wow!
The answer, it's quite an interesting look. They've probably got 100 jars there mounted, but it seems like a pretty low maintenance way to do it if it indeed is as successful as it seemed like when we were out there at Blackwood.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know that I have years hosed my deck and my wood fence and mulch areas I've got with cedar oil from a company called Cedarside that is in town. And it has done a good job for a few weeks of knocking it down. And I just come back with a retreatment. And I like that smell more than I like a lot of the, more kind of caustic smells, even garlic. So give me that cedar oil for it. Well, in the comments, we have a great comment from Susan Kelly. She's saying that there's a church in the Heights, St. Andrew's Episcopal, has a new garden, and it'll be a Urban Harvest affiliated community garden. So that's cool. They're putting their beds in this Saturday. So great job, Urban Harvest. Great job, St. Andrew's, getting a bed in there. Love that. Susan, if you have any questions, fire away. That's great. And then our other question is on leaf rollers on tomatoes. And so, but we're going to, I think, pause on that one. So stay tuned because we have a tomato question in our group of 4 here, and we can kind of answer them all together. So we're going to go to question number 2, if that's okay with you guys. Question number 3. That's right, question number 3. Thank you. All right, this one's from Todd. Todd says, what is the best type of tree to plant to serve as a privacy screen? I want trees that are evergreen and serve any other purpose. Smells good, wildlife, etc. I like the way you're thinking, Todd. So maybe we're going to branch out from trees here, but I do love the idea of planting plants in your landscape that serve more than one purpose, not just a pretty plant, but really like some other purpose. So Tyler, what's your thought on a good privacy screen?
If you're willing to deal with the maintenance, at our old house, we had a wonderful passion vine that was a Texas passion vine, is a native, and it grew with a vengeance on our fence, and it created the thickest privacy on our, iron gate between us and our neighbors, and it was, truly hard to see, and we just had to kind of trim it because it was a vigorous grower, but it also produced beautiful fruit and habitat for that butterfly. What was it called, Dany?
The fritillary.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. I don't have a lot of experience with planting privacy screens. I'm about to actually do it on my fence, so I would be curious to hear other alternatives besides just your classic jasmines and things like that.
Yeah, well, I do love the passion fruit idea. So beautiful flowers, some of the most complex flowers you've ever seen. Tasty fruit, if you get the right kind. There's a purple passion flower that some of us lovingly call Novax, but Texas purple passion. And it is a host plant, but also the leaves and the flowers can be used as a medicinal tea for relaxation. So it's kind of a cool, really if you want something that's got a lot of uses, passion vine is wonderful. So I am a huge advocate in this situation. If you're looking for something tall, then you go with hollies. So American hollies, Savannah hollies, East Palaka holly. These are all varieties of holly trees. And the berries do serve as great wildlife food. And so that's a cool one, is those hollies. Now, we mentioned it earlier, and I think we had a combo before questions this, but the wax myrtles make a great privacy hedge. And that second tier that you get is that they really do smell good and they'll repel mosquitoes. And so that could be a cool thing. If you have a smaller space and you want a big kind of barrier and use your backyard a lot, those wax myrtles might be a great solution. So tree form hollies and then wax myrtles are kind of my suggestions there. Tyler, you were going to chime in there? I heard you almost say something.
No, it's great. I don't have a lot of experience with that, so it's good to hear that. And I just typed wax myrtle on my notes to Google so I can take a look and see if I can get double the benefits from the mosquitoes and the privacy. So, yeah,
awesome. I think it's pretty wild to think that you get a little bit of help with your mosquitoes and then you get that privacy. All right, we do have a question here in the chat from Russell. He says, which types of native or non-native low-maintenance shrubs can be planted as an edible berry shrub in full sun that birds and myself can enjoy? But he's going to exclude blackberries, pineapple guava, or blueberries. This would also be part of a privacy fence. Well, I'm gonna jump in here. There's a cool berry plant called the cherry of the Rio Grande, and it is actually really cool. Can get about 6 feet, something like that. Can handle some irrigation or not irrigation. It makes a lovely red cherry berry, and birds do love it, and people love it. Now, a lot of birds aren't quite used to eating it, so you don't get that many birds coming in and ruining your crop, but some of them will enjoy it. Makes a evergreen hedge, really hardy grower, and does love the hot summer days, and can survive about 20-degree freezes, 25 maybe, and so that's a really cool one. Another one that I think might be interesting is beautyberry. Full sun, some of them like full sun, some like dappled shade, but beautyberry is a native shrub that birds do enjoy at the end of the season, and the berries taste a ton like gin and tonic. So if you want to try to, muddle that with a gin and tonic, it might be an interesting thing. We've already brought up drinking twice on this, but hey, cocktails are cocktails. Not everybody likes them. Not everybody makes them. Anyway, any suggestions for Russell on this native or non-native low maintenance shrub that can be planted as an edible berry shrub?
So my suggestion, and it worked really well at our old house, we had a staircase that was made out of wood, and we trained Mustang grapes to grow up the side of it.
Oh,
And it was a
cool.
perfect way for them to grow. We planted, I think, three. We purchased them at the farmer's market from one of our growers. And we had a muscadine too. I think the Mustangs really honestly made a better grape. And we made jelly with it. And then we moved. But it was pretty pretty vigorous growing and but looked cool. Everyone thought it was neat to have grapes kind of growing off the sides of our stairs. So that might be something that would be successful. And it's not technically a berry, but it could be something low maintenance and easy to do. We certainly didn't take very good care of them, and they were pretty hard to kill. So
I love that. That is definitely a native plant that birds enjoy as well. So good thoughts there. Awesome. Well, thanks, Tyler. Great info there. Russell, if you got a follow-up question, let us know. You can just put it in the comments there, and we will get to it for sure. All right, on to so we get these email questions from you emailing me at our website. So homeshowgardenpros.com is that place. On it, there's tons of tip videos, some written content, blog stuff, and there's two buttons I want to highlight. One is the listen button. So that's basically a way to participate in listening to the show anytime during the week, kind of like a podcast, but a little bit easier to get to sometimes at a podcast. And you just click on that listen button, plays the last two episodes of the show in a loop. So that's 4 hours. And then, great way to just kind of, when you're gardening, put something on that maybe helps you get in the mood for gardening. And the other button is the Ask a Pro button. And that sends me an email. You can attach one picture to that, but then I'll follow up and respond to it, and you can send me more pictures. Sending pictures with questions is really wonderful. Obviously a picture says 1,000 words, and most of you don't write 1,000-word emails, thankfully. So that's just kind of that's where we're getting these questions, and that's how we're helping people out all throughout the week. So here we go, question number 4. All right, this one's from Rebecca. She's a first-timer. Yay, Rebecca, first-timer. And it seems like my tomatoes are doing bad. What are tips? Fertilizer? My plants seem like they're dying, and that makes me sad. I only got a few tomatoes. So we'll kind of loop this in. We did have a question recently about tomato leaf rollers. It's a type of caterpillar that comes in and can do some damage on tomatoes. So, Tyler, I'm going to let you deliver the bad news on tomatoes.
Well, I was telling Dany before the show, I just yanked all my tomatoes. They were still setting some fruit, but it's getting hot, and they had done what they needed to do. My one tip on tomatoes, and we've tried to grow so many at the office and at the house, I find that the smaller cherry size and even smaller tomatoes are just the most hardy. The birds don't get after them. They seem to be more disease resistant. Don't seem to have any kind of fungal problems or any of that. And so this year we grew a bunch of like Matt's Wild, I believe, and
wow,
like Texas Wild. They were small, but I guess there's a reason we don't see them really sold at the farmers market very often. But they were delicious and they went well in salads. But try growing cherry tomatoes and see if you have more success. We use really, really big, robust cages for them. I think the little 3-prong wire cages are somewhat worthless. They all tend to fall over once the plants get bigger. And I would also say that we just keep it really simple in our beds with the tomatoes. We used to use a calcium substitute or like a supplement to prevent blossom end rot, but we don't do that anymore, and we don't seem to have an issue with it. We just use Microlife and make sure that you don't get the tomatoes wet. They don't really like getting their leaves wet. I think that puts them prone to different diseases. So we just water really at the base of the tomato, and that's about my only tips. I'm not an expert at growing these things, but we had a best year we've ever had. We had about 20 plants at the house, and had more tomatoes than we knew what to do with.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like this year people had too many tomatoes or they didn't get any, and so it was a real overabundance or total lack thereof. So I really just want to drive home Tyler's advice here on choosing small tomatoes, especially for the fall. So if you're want to do a fall crop of tomatoes, you really need to take out your tomatoes right now, not Wednesday, but maybe by Sunday afternoon. Take out your tomatoes now, because if you leave them in through the summer, really the main thing you'll be doing is growing a nematode in the soil that's bad for tomatoes, and you won't get a harvest in the fall. So you take them out now, let your soil rest for a couple months, and then you get them back in late August on my brother's birthday, August 30th. And then you can, have a nice fall crop. But choosing the little ones means that you'll get tomatoes faster and you'll get more of them in that short fall season. If you are going to aim for big tomatoes next spring, try to get them in late January. Try to get them in as early as possible. And if you have a freeze, you dig them up, bring them inside, or you cover them with a bucket or something like that. But the earlier you get them in spring, the more success you'll have, the longer season you'll have. But yeah, in the summer, yes, probably have another 2 weeks of setting fruit, if that, maybe a couple more days even. But as nighttime temperatures begin to go upwards, our production goes away, and then you've just got a place for caterpillars and other diseases, those nematodes, to kind of really grow, and without a lot of production. So pull them out, save the space, grow cement in that space, and put your tomatoes there in late August. So for that person who has a question about those leaf rollers, it's the same advice. Just go ahead and take your tomatoes out, and you won't have the leaf rollers anymore because they'll be in the compost or wherever, out on the curb in the recycle bag. So that's just something to remember when it comes to these tomatoes, is they are an annual. They truly are an annual, and we got to treat them as such. So let's see, checking all the comment sections for new questions. That's the same one down there then. Okay, great. Or is that stink bug ones? Stink bugs are going to start being bad too, and that's another way to kind of reduce them is by pulling the tomatoes out. All right, so we one tradition we do on here, we have our great guests. We also do a little video segment, and so kind of go to a video segment about a plant. And this video is one of those ones where it's like, I want to do what she's talking about. So over to Judy with talking about salvia. All right, Judy. A great way to beat the heat or just deal with any brutal weather is by using salvias. Judy brought us a bunch of purple salvias. These are really cool.
Yeah, I love salvias. They're definitely one of my favorites. This is a Henry Dolberg salvia.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, kind of tall. Doesn't get totally out of control or anything, but really, really stunning.
But it does have that kind of wild feel. Like
Yeah.
This is not some perfectly curated.
It does. No, which is kind of interesting because everything's at a different level. But it blooms all the time, takes the heat really well, comes back. Really didn't even die back this year.
Now, we just chose purple salvia because we love them, but not all of them are purple. There's a lot of white and red
Pinks,
and pink.
whites, red, every.
Fuchsia even?
Yes, even fuchsia.
Nice. So this one is one of those little controllable plants. It's like a perfect little specimen of a plant. What is this one?
This is called Misty. It's a miniature or dwarf version of the Mystic Spires.
Oh, well, yeah, the flowers look almost just like it. So you could do a bigger bank of mystic flowers and have the little missies in front of it.
Yes, they're going to maybe get 18 inches tall, much more compact and controlled.
And bees and butterflies are going to be all over these flowers.
All over it.
And this one's also really unique, got more of a leafy feel. What is this one?
May Night Salvia, probably the lowest growing of the salvias. Really tough to heat and cold, really, really good perennial.
I've heard this one even grows in Reno.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Doesn't mind getting cold.
And then a huge one, I really look up to this plant, but this is, what kind is this one? What is this one?
Amistad.
Amistad. So this one can get up to even 5 feet tall.
Yeah, it's a big one. Blooms all the dang time though. Probably 9 months out of the year it blooms.
And then at the end of, kind of right before summer, you can get a little haircut and get even more blooms out of it.
Yep, make a restart for the fall, for sure.
I've seen this one used really well in kind of a medium-sized bank. And in that setting, man, just covered with butterflies.
We use it as a backdrop for some annual color, but butterflies and hummingbirds both, all over it.
And is it pretty tough?
Really, really tough.
That's
really
awesome.
tough.
That's
Yep,
what I love
beautiful.
about salvias, right? Is it can handle so much.
Yep, they're beautiful. Contrast to other colors. They have movement. They attract butterflies and hummingbirds. They're hard to beat.
That's awesome. Well, salvias are great plants, and for more great plants and for more information, go to HomeShowGardenPros.com. So Tyler, my dream is to have an all salvia landscape bed, like banks of all different kinds laid out, some low ones on the front, big ones in the middle. What do you think? Are you in? Should I do it?
Yeah, no, I love it. I just also put that on my list. I don't know much about it. I just learned a bunch right there. So yeah. do it.
The enchanted folks are really great. So salvia is just a great plant, really cool, easy to take care of, and it's kind of got a really cool square stem. So so kids are really interested in that. If you showed it out to them, they'll like spend a lot of time checking out the stems. So kind of cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been our fun times. Tyler and I would like to plan your Saturday for you. So, you kind of, as you're getting up, you're going to listen to the show 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Sports Radio 610, Home Show Garden Pros. That's going to get you motivated to like get out there and garden. But before you do, you're going to go check out what the farmers got going on, what the makers got going on at the Urban Harvest Farmers Market. Right, Tyler? And then you take over this planning day thing.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. A couple pro tips for if you're a new shopper. We have a big parking garage. It's covered, so your car will be shaded, and plenty of parking. So just drive on up if you don't see a spot. But stop by our information booth. We have volunteers and staff there that love to answer questions. Many of them are expert gardeners. Blas, my right-hand guy, knows just about everything there is to know about growing things around here, and he's happy to answer gardening questions or questions about something you might be looking for at the market. But we love to have you come out and make sure that you have a good time, and bring your family, and leave your dogs at home.
That's right. That's right.
Those are the only rules. So yeah,
That's great.
We look forward to having you come out and visit. We've been open for almost 17 years now, and we never close. So it's every Saturday, rain or shine, we're there 8 to noon. Corner of Westheimer and Buffalo. Yeah.
Good stuff. Great place. Again, best brunch spot in town. So we did have one late question coming here from Susan Kelly. And she says, can you plant winter squash now? So people should not be confused by the name of the squash. But it's like the butternut squash, the acorn squash, the pumpkins.
I think it's too early for that. I'm not sure. I know when winter squash shows up, and I think maybe now is the time to start your transplants. But
yeah,
I think it's still a little too nuclear hot outside to get those things going in the ground. But I could be wrong.
So that's the news, is get the seeds going in your house, in your garage, in your places where you can get some light on them, get some air on them. Maybe in the evening, take them out, let them get some heat, but maybe not today. Maybe wait a little bit till you get them in the ground. I will say, if you really do everything outside, start sooner than later, because it's only warming up, through late August. So keep that in mind. Great question. They're called winter squash because you eat them in the winter. So we have to start ours in the summer, be it inside or outside. So Tyler, how do people find more about what Urban Harvest is doing? What's the website?
Best thing to do is go to www.urbanharvest.org and take a look around our website. And we have a bunch of information on there with gardening tips for growing things here in the Houston area, and more information on the farmers markets. You can meet the vendors and kind of learn a little bit more about who we work with every single week, and you can see a map of all the community gardens throughout the city.
Well, that is awesome. Great stuff. Great resource. Thanks, Tyler, so much for being on here. Big thanks to Urban Harvest for everything you guys are doing. Thanks y'all at home for paying attention, tuning in, and make sure you tune in this Saturday. Dany Linderman and me, Dany Milliken, will be there dishing out awesome gardening information once again. So on behalf of all the Home Show Garden Pros, get out there and garden.